Hey y'all.
Hey everybody, it's Mrs. Biracial Guru
And Mrs. Empowerment Coach.
on behalf of Empowerment Schooling.
Yep.
A platform designed with we're life coaches and we all one thing in common, and that is
Your brain.
our goal is to empower others with hope.
Having only positive experiences.
That part. We focus on bringing awareness and facts to the masses of people. We all have one thing in common, and that is
your brain.
We explain the why, the what, the how, the emotions and thoughts work
In your brain.
to attract life wealth
To yourself.
us.
There you go.
So do me a favor real quick.
Subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you.
Before we get into this topic, and that is fear in relationships.
But we're going to focus on the communication side of it today.
Right. Because that's a big one.
And you guys, we got notes so that we stay on script. So, okay, so we stay not on script, on topic. Because, we finna be talking, and we need to make sure we reel it back in. Okay, reel it back in.
Yes, so we can make sure that we answer everybody's questions or comments accurately.
Correct. We got a lot of comments, you guys, that we want to address regarding the live that we have on Wednesday. What's the word? Fear in relationships. And that live was kind of all over the place. So we want to kind of bring it back, and answer a lot of questions and let you guys have the complete understanding of what it is to be able to release the fear in any type of relationship and be effective in every type of relationship.
Correct. Those ships include more than just the intimacy relationship.
Correct.
Work ships, family ships, parent ships, cousin ships, auntie ships.
Right.
I mean, it all. Everything is a ship.
Check out the video before this one for the breakdown on ships, because I broke that down for you on another little recording. So go back on another one and check that one out about relationships. But for today, we're going to answer a lot of these questions that were commented on the live as well in our inboxes. So we can answer, because it's more, I'm pretty sure it's more than one person you think they got and feel this way and think that way.
Yes.
Okay, so we starting at what, workplace?
Yeah, let's start there, because it seems like there were a lot of questions about the workplace.
Correct.
And how to keep a positive mindset in the workplace without having all the negative energy, without having, we know that sometimes bosses can be, or coworkers can be
a lot.
Woo. But guys, we did do a video on emotional maturity.
Alive.
Yes, which explained in depth emotional maturity and why people act that way. Not everybody is on your level.
Correct.
You can't expect everybody to have the same mind frame, mindset, or emotions that you have.
Correct.
Because us as human are all different. Our brains function the same, but our understanding and our life experiences are different.
Correct. And that's what emotional maturity, it's a skill. And that's something that if you're not aware of the components that make up being emotionally mature, you kind of don't know.
It's like that saying, with age comes wisdom, but it's not always, age is not a number. It's a maturity factor. So with wisdom and knowledge, those are the people that mature. But you can have a 45-year-old who acts like a 5-year-old child.
Emotionally.
Yes, and then you can have a 22-year-old who acts like an 80-year-old emotionally.
Right.
So, and one of the questions was how to deal with that. My answer to that is affirmations. Big.
So when you say affirmations, what do you mean? Like, okay, for instance, my boss just genuinely, like, I recently went through that situation where I had a boss. He was not favorable of the black women. He literally, and it was obvious to the point where when other ethnic women would come in, you could see the favoritism, and you could see the difference in his tone of voice and his body language and things of that nature. So, is that like what you're coming from? Because that's a lot to kind of have to try to still go to work and make a check, and this is the person that's your supervisor.
Right, and racism is a big deal in our society. But as being biracial and as being a person of multiple ethnicities, one way to deal with that is to know that it exists, but to find you and to know who you are and be confident with yourself, a color don't matter. So affirmations, one thing that I would write down if that was the situation, because we deal with it too, is how you want that person to treat you, how you want that person to see you, how you see yourself, how you are confident in yourself. So even if you have to write, I'm thebomb.com, I'm smart, I'm intelligent. One of music was big too. On the way to work, one song that I used to listen to was
Help Me.
Go Get the Money.
Okay.
And
so basically what you're saying is that you are reprogramming yourself.
Yes.
No matter the situation that you were walking into or dealing with, you were programming your subconscious mind so that in your actual situation, reality that you were dealing with, you will be able to maneuver through it because your subconscious mind, you're programming how you want yourself to think and feel.
Right.
Understood.
Right. So
understood. Well, for me, you guys, what I have come to understand is that when it comes to workplace, affiliations, baby. And that's not just workplace though, guys. It's within a lot of relationships. Like when I was in church, one thing that was big, and let me move back a little bit. Affiliations refer to emotional connections, like when individuals feel they're a part of or in unity with a company or an organization or a group or something like that, fraternity, sorority, something of that nature. You know what I'm talking about? So when that pretty much happens, when a person feels affiliated, y'all, it's pretty much nothing that they will not do for that particular connection.
Right.
And so when it comes to workplace, I feel like a lot of people don't feel connected.
Yes, that would be a fact.
They don't feel like they're in the in crowd. And I promise you that, and then that's when these whole titles, you guys, people take these titles
too far.
I mean, too far.
Too far.
Like you're the school principal. Okay, that does not make you Michelle the fuck Obama.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct. And it does not mean that you're the only one who holds stuff together. Because see, the little people, y'all matter.
Correct. But see, it's as if once people receive those titles, they feel as though they have this power or that they are, I don't know,
superior.
There you go. That's the word I was looking for. That you're superior. But it's as if you completely get amnesia to the fact that before you got here, you were in a lesser role as well. You were bumping shoulders with the very people that you're now over.
Right.
It's a psyche that is happening when somebody takes upon a title and then it becomes them.
Right.
But that's not how this works. If you're you and you're comfortable with you, for me, a good leader will get in and still be side by side.
Right. And as people in the workplace, even though you're not a leader, Mrs. Empowerment Coach said a lot. You have to be comfortable with you, regardless of a title, regardless of a position, and you have to remind yourself the why. Why am I here?
Right.
Because, guys, you don't have to be in that building of that particular workplace.
Facts.
You don't have to stay there.
Facts.
You don't have to be loyal to that company or that particular place.
Facts.
So you have to remind yourself the why.
Right.
Why am I here? And that's what you stick to. Even if you got to do it every morning, every night. Why?
Right.
If it's to pay bills and take care of your family, while you're working on your dreams and your goals, remind yourself of that.
Right.
And concentrate on the bigger picture, your plan, your goal. Always set goals and do not, as long as you have a goal set, you will continue to press forward.
Right.
So once you reach that goal, set another one. Because that's how our brain operates.
And for me, when it comes down to, when people, what I've come to realize is that when people have a stable, constructive connection, they tend to be more productive.
Yeah.
And they tend to keep a positive attitude.
Right.
They actually want to cooperate.
Right.
They want to.
Right.
When a person feels connected, man, listen, I ain't been asleep in a week, but man, boss man gonna be so happy. Boss man gonna be so proud. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
For real, with empowerment schooling, you guys, because we really are passionate about what we're doing, her eyes be crossed at 2:00 in the morning.
Yep.
And we're creating different documents and updating materials. And I'm like, I thought that said was. She was like, can you see? I don't know. I think.
Our spouses have to basically drag us off the computers.
Right.
For real. To go to bed. To get rest. But, and that's another thing with the workplace, guys. Stop setting expectations. Like she said. Oh, my boss man gonna be so proud. Don't look at it like that. Just, I'm doing this because this is what I want to do. This is my work ethic. This is who I am. And I am going to pat my own self on the back for doing this good job. Because what happens is your emotions and your feelings get hurt if you don't get the expectation that you were going for. Your boss might be like, oh, okay, thank you. And move on with their day. Now you're mad.
Right.
Now you're emotional.
Right.
Now you are just, your whole day
right.
is just ruined. You're not pumped up no more because you done came off that high.
Right.
Because of an expectation that you set. So expectations setting in other people, don't do that because you don't know those other people. You don't know their emotions. You can't control their emotions. You can't control their thoughts, their attitudes, nothing. You can't control anything with them or their life. You can only control you. So set your own goals and expectations for yourself. And sometimes you got to be your own number one fan.
You got to.
There's
I'm always
nothing
my
wrong
number
with
one
that.
fan, honey. Always.
And then when other people pat you on the back, it just adds on to, girl, thank you, girl.
Right.
Or, dude.
Right. Correct.
Thank you. Thank you.
Correct.
And now you're on this extra high.
Right.
But you're not going to have your feelings hurt if they don't.
Right.
So that's a big one too.
When we're once again still speaking about the affiliations, what happens, you guys, in your brain, there is a chemical that's released. It's called oxytocin. It's unlocking your ability to trust. So that will, trust is an emotion that we will have a session on later on, maybe next month, but right now we are totally focusing on relationships.
Right.
From a fear standpoint, right now we're talking about it from a communication standpoint. But I just wanted you to know what is happening when you feel affiliated. That's happening from your brain. You shooting that oxytocin out.
Right.
And you're trusting, which is making you willing to bend and fold and flex and stretch and crumble up if you need to, and then stretch back out if you need to again.
Right.
That's how these gang members are attracting our youth. And from a mindset, they're making them feel affiliated. They're making them feel as though, man, I got your back. I'm riding with you. You know what I'm saying? And then you got these little boys out here going and doing stuff because they feel affiliated, because they trust what that other person is saying. You guys, and I'm saying all of these things to address several different types of relationships and bring it to perspective, because I'm not sure if these things have been brought to the reality in the manner that empowerment schooling is bringing it.
Right, because it's the way that your brain functions, and that's the same thing as a lot of people will use the word loyalty.
Affiliation.
That's all it is. That's all it is. That's it. Loyalty makes you feel, when they say the word loyalty, it makes you feel a part of something. You feel like that person's always going to be there. Oh, that person's going to have my back. That person will take my secrets to the grave.
Right.
Before they snitch on me, before they cross me.
Right.
Before this, before that.
Right.
That's all it is. It's the same thing. But then I want to explain to you guys that we are human. And the way that our brains and our bodies work and our emotions work, a lot of people don't know what an emotion is.
Okay?
So we get so angry in relationships or fearful in relationships or can't communicate in a relationship because you're expecting, once again, that person to have the same emotion the same way that you have it, or understand what an emotion is.
Right.
Or understand who they are.
Right.
Or, whatever the case may be. And you can't, there's different levels to this.
Right. And we'll tell you about the levels of an intimate relationship, because there's actually levels. It is. It's levels. And that's where we obviously, we just jump ahead of different things and then pass judgment on, the way another person does something or whatnot. But when it comes to communication, guys, as she just stated, that's a big thing in any type of relationship, especially a workplace, especially an intimate, even a partnership, the one that we have to be able to communicate effectively. Sometimes I may have to snap at her. Sometimes she may have to snap at me.
Out of love.
And respect.
Yes, that's a big one. Parentship. We are teaching, and I'm going to say this from being a parent.
Correct.
We are teaching our children how to communicate. I'm not saying that sometimes you don't have to get with your child.
Right.
Because sometimes you do have to get with your child, but don't belittle your child, because you are teaching your child
how to communicate,
how to respect, and you're teaching them how communication is supposed to go.
Right.
So when you belittle that person, and then they go get with even as women, they go get with a man or go get with a woman who belittles them, that's normal to them. You know why? Because
they grew up in dysfunction. That's called dysfunction.
Yeah.
For instance, my mom was an addict and she was an alcoholic, and she talked loud and she cursed a lot, but she got her money. Okay. My mama got to that money, honey, and she was a very big people person, but my mom was an addict and she was an alcoholic. Now at home, we took the brunt because she wasn't emotionally mature or emotionally intelligent enough to, if somebody said something inappropriate to her, she would take it instead of giving it back, but then we would get it at home.
Right.
So I had to realize once I started to date that the things that were happening at my work, I wasn't facing them head on at work. I was taking it out on my person when I got home. But that's something I learned subconsciously from birth until age 7. So I mimicked that when I got in my own relationships.
Right, and that's, again, it goes back to any relationship. Whoever you going home to, it may not be no man, may not be no woman, it may not be your significant other. It could be you have a roommate, or you stay with your sister, you have kids.
Right.
You take it home.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what you grew up in. Those are what you call generational curses,
and
that
cycles.
We're not aware of those type of curses.
Because they're stored in your subconscious.
Mm-hmm. And they seem so simple, and they seem like whatever.
Right.
But no, they're a big deal.
Right. Because for me, it took for me and my dad. My dad was a drug dealer, and he wasn't around. He wasn't present as often as I would have wanted him to be. But once he got himself together, he got out of prison and he straightened up and got on the straight and narrow. He tried to be a father, but because I had been harnessing and harvesting so much anger and resentment towards him, in my relationships, I ended up getting with a drug dealer. I ended up getting with the exact thing that I resented. My father. This man was a womanizer. He was a woman beater. He was a drug user. And I despised the fact that my mom was a drug user. So I wouldn't do or get involved in the things that people around me would do, because I saw that growing up. So I was determined that in my adult life, that's not happening. But then I ended up with the type of thing that I despised. Because in my subconscious mind, I had hated it so much and despised it so much, I attracted it to myself.
Right. Same way with me growing up with my mom. Y'all, my mom was not no very loving, compassionate, open person.
Even though she's white.
Even though she's white. My mama did some, woo, my stepdaddy. And grant you, yes, you never know what somebody's going through in a marriage, but when you grow up and that's all you see
is dysfunction.
Dysfunction and abuse, guess what? Mrs. Biracial got into dysfunction and abuse.
Right.
And instead of, and I wasn't a very open person. A lot of dudes would tell me, you act like a man. A little bit.
I've heard that more often than not, and that's where I was going with what I was saying about my dad. That once I got older, and I realized that I'm going from relationship to relationship to relationship,
right.
and I'm facing the same things. What is the problem? Is it me? Is it me? God, doggone it. So what I had to do was take a step back and look at, okay, Alethea, what is your problem? What are you dealing with? Because every time you get with somebody, it doesn't matter their sign. It's you. You're the common denominator. And what it was I was harvesting anger towards my dad.
Right.
So once I decided, hey, look, man, I'm finna tell you how I feel. I'm finna talk to you, this and that. Man, my dad, like a man, he sat there and he let me say whatever it was I needed to say to him. And then that man turned right around and got me right together. I'm talking about right together. And when he got me together, I was 30 years old. And I was just sitting there on the other end of that phone like, wow, I'm doing this. This is me. This is me. Wow. And my dad, like, he got me right together. I now know how to effectively communicate with a man.
Right. And it takes a lot of learning because Mrs. Biracial, I may not have knew what it was or had necessary, my daddy, he an alcoholic. He from the streets. He's this, he's that. But I had to self-check myself one day because when I looked at my pattern of men that I was choosing, and they're all different, and they're all from different backgrounds, but they all the same. What is you doing that you keep attracting these messed up? And it wasn't just men. It was women. It was friendships. It was people that I looked at as family. Why everybody keep crossing you? What is wrong with you? You're the most loving, loyal, bubbly, open person. You'll give a person a shirt off your back, but it's like everybody around you take advantage of that. I had to spend a lot of time with me and tell myself, what are you doing? Because this has to be you. Because these are all different people from all over the place. And they're doing the same exact thing. So you're not learning your lesson.
Right.
Whatever your lesson may be. Or you're holding on to something you're not letting go.
Right.
You're not loving openly.
Right.
You're not being compassionate. My fuck it, cut it off real quick.
ASAP.
Oh, I'll look at you like you're a stranger and known you for 15 years and don't give a damn. Move on. Like, whatever.
Okay.
But with that, it's not healthy.
It's not, because you have a fear of being in a connected, committed, loyal partnership relationship.
Right.
And that is fucked up.
And everybody else after that has to pay for that.
Correct. And how? Why? I ain't do nothing to you. I am not your old friend. I do that shit. I'm not going to do that shit, but I'm not going to keep telling you the same thing.
Right.
What I will do is I will get the fuck on down.
Right. So you miss out on connections. You miss out on good people that could be that's coming to your life that's supposed to be there. You miss it because them people not gonna deal with that.
Right.
So I mean, you have to do a self check, and to be honest, Mrs. Biracial Guru still self check herself every day, on a daily,
every day. Got to.
You got to keep your emotions and them thoughts in check.
Got to. And you guys, what needs to be done from a communication standpoint? We, you, me, you, and you, and whoever else gonna see this. We need to learn how to be more compassionate from the other person's standpoint. Try your best. Everybody's not on the same level as you. Everybody's not on the same understanding or the same education level.
Right.
You have to begin to meet a person where they are. Somebody could genuinely be meaning well, but they're not understanding how to get that across.
Right. Stop. The main thing with communication is you do not have to understand somebody's feelings. Just respect them.
Say it.
Respect them. That's the saying. I agree to disagree.
Yes, God.
I'm not gonna get mad.
Okay.
I'm not gonna get upset. You know what? I don't understand where you're coming from, because maybe you haven't. You wouldn't have looked at it that way. But
Right.
I'm going to respect you to understand that your feelings are really hurting. You're really emotional from that.
Correct.
So we're gonna try to get to a common denominator so this doesn't happen again, because it affected you.
Correct.
Period.
That's it. It's that simple, you guys. And that's it. So, like the video, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you on the next one.